the trick. So if you ever have a problem with the gun, it's best to take out the grips here, and here, so you can see from the hole, the big hole, the operation of the gun and see what's wrong. Like how I found out was I looked through the hole inside at the sear and see that there wasn't enough room for the between the beaver and the bolt for the disconnector to engage, and that's really helpful. So try to take the grip out if you're ever working on a problem. I'm not working on a problem right now, so I'm not going to take that out. Okay, anyway, to put the gun back together, just do the steps in reverse. So first, I'll put the impact lock thing back in. If you can see, there's a hole in this piece here. This piece, there's a hole. That hole has to line up with the Sears pin hole right there. So slide that in there. The disconnector again can only go in one way, so you can't screw it up. You can't put it backwards; it won't go in. So there's only one way. And that hole again, it's for the ears shaft to hook onto. So don't worry about that now. Just put that in, and make sure the spring is sitting at the back of the gun. While you put that in, don't squish the spring. So you put that in, it's gonna sit, secure like that. Now you can push it a few times to make sure that you put in correctly. If you look closely at the impact lock thing again, the hole on that piece is not lined up with the Sears pin hole. It's covered up. So before you put the pin in, make sure you line that up. Okay. Now the next thing I'll put in is the piece that I call the ear, the disconnector part. The shaft goes to the right. Okay. That's very tricky. So you need to look inside the frame, and for a single stack, there's very little room for you to look at. You're supposed to put the ear in like that, so that the shaft sits back into the disconnector's hole at the base. Just give me a minute. There we go. Now, once I got it, okay, you check the gun again by pushing it up and down a few times, leaning the gun to the right, and you can see that it's engaging, the ear at the bottom. There we go. Now, don't worry about the hole on the ear. It's huge, and it's gonna line up the Sears pin for sure. The next step is to put the sear back in with a concave side facing you. Okay, you put the sear in above the ear, just like how you took it out when you took a look. So you slide it in, and this part could become tricky to line up the hole. So then I use my paintbrush again and fiddle until. Now if it falls out, don't worry. Just keep trying until you look from the top of the gun to see if the holes line up. When I see it line up now, once it lines up, use a small screwdriver or the tip of a pen or whatever you like to line up that impact lock hole, and then you look from the top of the gun again to make sure everything's lined up. If you want to be sure, stick the thing all the way in and round it. Now it's all lined up, and I can put the Sears pin back in through all the 4 elements that I just talked about. So do it carefully, slide in, and there, it's done. So after you insert the Sears pin, look at the back of the gun again, check everything. Don't go too fast, make sure everything's working. So now, yes, it is. Push the ears move, and the sear doesn't fall out. It goes all the way to that side. Nothing falls out now. Once you put that sear pin in, you notice nothing will fall if you hold on to the sear pin and you shake the gun. shouldn't fall. Okay. So next thing you want to do is to put the hammer back in and the hammer pin. When you put the hammer back in, make sure the firing pin goes through the top of the sear and reaches all the way to where it's supposed to strike the valve. So don't just stuff it anyway. Stuff it. There, make sure the hook fits nicely in the middle, and move the hammer such that the hole again lines up with the hammer pin hole, like that. I'm holding on to the position with my middle finger there, and I'm putting the hammer pin. Whoops. There we go. There. Now the hammer is secure. And you notice it's locked. Like I can't push it more forward in the hammer down position. The reason why is because the sear is engaging the hammer. You want that in the rest position for when you push back the spring housing, but it doesn't matter. You can do it anytime you want. But for me, I like to do it. So what I do is I loosen up the gun a little bit like that. Play with the hammer until magically it pushed all the way back 9 degrees. So then what I usually do is I hold on to it at that hammer down position again, and it's time to put the leaf spring back on. Okay. Now make sure you have it at the correct orientation. That little spoon, I call it a spoon. That spoon leaf go on the left most and pushes onto the trigger bowl. If you have a 3-leaf spring, it's the same way. It doesn't matter. Just make sure the middle leaf push onto the steer's tab. Okay, so I'm going to put it back in the frame now. Make sure the strut is out of the way there, and I use my ring finger to position that so it won't move around when I put in the leaf spring. Now when you put in the leaf spring, put the base first. Put in the base first. Make sure it goes into the recession there, and then pivot it onto the sear's tab. If you do it this way, no leaf should go below things that it shouldn't go below. So now after I put it in, oh, by the way, I had to sand the 2 sides of the leaf spring so it goes in smoothly again. You know what I mean. If you look at it with a flashlight again, the spoon should be right in front of the trigger ball. The middle leaf should push on the sear's tab there. The 3rd leaf, or if you don't have a 4th leaf anyway, it should push on the disconnector, and then the 4th leaf will should push back on the grip safety, which I call the beaver, and that's how it is. Okay. Then the next step is